The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. In the heart of Weston, West Virginia, the imposing structure known as the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum stands as a testament to a bygone era of mental health care. But in the darker side of history, this sprawling Gothic-style structure also carries with it a chilling reputation as one of the most haunted places in the United States. Established in the mid-19th century, the asylum's roots are deeply intertwined with the prevailing attitudes towards mental health during that time. It emerged as a response to the moral treatment movement, a progressive approach to mental health that advocated for humane and compassionate care for individuals with mental illnesses. When the asylum opened its doors, its mission was clear: to provide a sanctuary for those afflicted with mental illnesses and to offer them the care and understanding that had long been denied to them. However, as the 19th century gave way to the 20th, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum faced a period of significant challenges, changes, and controversies. To cut the story short, the 1990s marked the end of an era for the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. In 1994, after more than a century of operation, the asylum closed its doors for the last time. And this was only the beginning of the chilling occurrences inside. After the closure, reports of paranormal activity and ghostly encounters began circulating, and the reputation of the asylum as a haunted location persisted. The building was left abandoned for several years, which only added to its eerie atmosphere. Witnesses continued to share spine-chilling stories that testified to the lingering horrors within its decaying walls. Among these witnesses were former staff members, employees who had devoted years of their lives to the care of the mentally ill, and locals residing in the vicinity of the forsaken institution. The most distressing of these accounts revolved around the ongoing echoes of disembodied voices. In the eerie silence that enveloped the asylum, voices that should have faded into oblivion instead reverberated through the empty halls. These spectral whispers were not mere echoes of the past, but rather a haunting testament to the anguish that had once permeated the building. Witnesses often spoke of hearing tormented cries, as if the tortured souls of the asylum's former patients continued to suffer in an otherworldly realm, their wails of despair echoing for eternity. The apparitions that roam the dimly lit corridors of the asylum are among the most unsettling phenomena. These ghostly figures take on the forms of former residents and staff members, forever trapped within the asylum's confines. Their presence was far from benign. It exuded an eerie malevolence that sent shivers down the spines of anyone who dared to venture into their spectral domain. Witnesses described encounters with these phantoms as profoundly unsettling, their eyes filled with a deep sadness and torment that seemed to seep into the very souls of those who locked eyes with them. Some locals recounted feeling a sense of unease even from the safety of their homes, as if the asylum's eerie presence extended beyond its physical boundaries. The stories of these witnesses, rooted in personal experience and shared with trembling voices, only added to the enduring mystery and terror. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum had an undeniable allure that drew in curious souls despite being off-limits to the public. This magnetic attraction turned the asylum into a haunting playground for urban explorers and trespassers, each of whom left with harrowing stories to tell. Entering the asylum, trespassers often found themselves stepping into an eerie realm where the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred. The air seemed heavy with an otherworldly presence, and every creaking floorboard and echoing corridor held an unsettling secret. Among the most terrifying encounters were the shadowy figures that appeared to materialize out of thin air. These spectral entities moved stealthily through the darkness, their forms often flickering in and out of existence. Witnesses recounted feeling an icy chill as these apparitions drew near, their presence carrying an aura of malevolence that was impossible to ignore. In some instances, these shadowy figures made direct contact with trespassers, heightening the sense of dread and fear. One of the most haunting apparitions is that of a young girl often heard sobbing within the asylum's walls. The identity of this spectral child remains a mystery, but her heart-rending cries have left a lasting impression on those who have heard them. Some believe she may be the spirit of a former patient who endured unimaginable suffering during her time at the institution. To note, the asylum's electroshock therapy room has been a focal point for many ghostly encounters. Visitors have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness and despair when entering this room, and some claim to have heard the agonized screams of patients who underwent these treatments, suggesting that the anguish of the past lingers in this eerie space. Perhaps most unsettling of all were the accounts of unseen hands that reached out to touch those who dared to trespass. Trespassers described feeling an otherworldly force tugging at their clothing or brushing against their skin, leaving behind a tangible sensation of spectral contact. Ghostly apparitions often suggest that some souls may have unfinished business or unresolved traumas. Shockingly, there were accounts disclosing that many individuals found themselves admitted to the asylum for reasons that were unrelated to mental health, which people think might be the reasons why a lot of spirits haunt the place. These admissions highlighted societal prejudices and a lack of understanding about mental health issues. Some patients with physical ailments, like asthma, were admitted to the asylum, likely due to a lack of appropriate medical facilities or understanding of these conditions at the time. Likewise, patients with tuberculosis, a highly contagious respiratory disease, were sometimes admitted, possibly due to fears of spreading the disease within communities. There were also domestic conflicts involved, and women who would not listen to their husbands were subjected to institutionalization, reflecting a deeply patriarchal society where women's autonomy was restricted and their resistance to control could lead to confinement. Marital disputes allegedly caused some admissions, as well. Some men tried to get their wives out of the way and maintain extramarital relationships, a disturbing reflection of the power imbalances within marriages during that era. Amidst the unsettling horrors of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, there are profound lessons that emerge like fragile rays of light piercing through the darkness. The asylum's horrors underscore the critical need for compassion and understanding in mental health care. It serves as a poignant reminder that those facing mental health challenges deserve dignity, respect, and humane treatment, free from the stigma and cruelty of the past. Its history also prompts us to cultivate empathy for the vulnerable among us. It teaches us to extend a helping hand to those in need, recognizing that the struggles of mental illness can affect anyone, regardless of their background or circumstances. The asylum's legacy also inspires advocacy for change in mental health care. It highlights the importance of advocating for policies and practices that prioritize the well-being and rights of individuals facing mental health challenges. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, a place where history converges with horror, concludes as a chilling testament to the complexities of our past. Beyond its grandiose Gothic architecture lies a dark history marked by the suffering of countless individuals who sought care and found only neglect. But in the midst of the asylum's harrowing history, there is a call to remember. To remember the lives that were lost to the shadows. To remember the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of adversity, and to remember the lessons of the past. The asylum serves as both a dark warning and a beacon of hope, challenging us to advocate for progress in mental health care, to extend compassion to those in need, and to confront the ghosts of our past so that we may shape a more compassionate and enlightened future. And with that, we have come to the end of our video. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. This has been saying, see you next time.